What's up, everybody? Renfail here, and it's time for my initial review of Dragon Age the Veilguard. If you've never tuned in to any of my reviews before here on the channel, I do things in 3 stages as a general rule. We come in and we play a game for 8 to 10 hours, and I drop an early thoughts video, which we've already done after our first big stream on launch day. I then come back sometime around 20-25 hours of gameplay and I leave an initial review, which is this one. We actually just crossed the 30 hours mark today. So it's time to actually sink our teeth into this initial review. Now, later on, after I finish the game, I will have a final review out where I address any of the additional things that have come up along the way beyond the initial review. So if you haven't had a chance yet to watch my early thoughts video, that went up on the 31st, the day that this launched, and this video is going out tonight, which is the 3rd. We've been streaming every single day the past few days. Today we had another day. We split it into 2 sessions. We did a 7.5 hour stream in the morning and then like a 2.5 hour stream in the evening. So we had another 10-hour day today. And we'll be back again tomorrow bright and early at around 8 or 9 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and Twitch, just like I always am with all the games I play. And I do play a lot of games, everybody. I've got 7,000 videos on the channel. I've played a lot of games over the years, and we've got more games coming up. After this, we're going on to Stalker 2, and then we've got the story DLC for Star Wars Outlaws, then Indiana Jones The Great Circle, and then Path of Exile 2 Early Access just within this year, and then we have a jam-packed 2025 ahead of us. So, without further ado, let's talk about my initial review for Dragon Age Veilguard. And again, remember, this is not a final review. This is my, initial take on things after a little over 30 hours of gameplay. I have finished unlocking all of the companions now. So that was what we did during today's stream. Was actually finally unlocked Tash and got her into the fold, and we did a bunch of quests with her. I am pursuing a romantic relationship with Nev's character. So the primary companions that I choose to run with most of the time are Nev and Davrin. I find that they work rather well with my particular character this time around. So I have a rogue, and then he is the tank, and then Nev is the mage. So it gives me the trinity where I've got all three archetypes in my group. And so I have a nice little bit of synergy going on between these three that can sort of ping these different primers and detonators off of each other, and it works rather well. I reached level, I believe I'm level 25. Let's take a look here. I think I'm 25. Yeah, closing in on 26. I have a variety of gear pieces now. I've got some green gear, some blue gear, some red gear. And as far as my skills go, I am firmly up through the sustain line over into the duelist. I will have a build guide out later on for the build that I'm playing with this particular character, so stay tuned for that. I've been doing guides every single day, just like I do with all the other games I play, so I'll continue to produce these as I continue to go through this game. Again, this is the main game up until November 20th when Stalker 2 comes out, so you can expect to see a lot more Dragon Age footage and guides and other things from me in the coming weeks ahead. I really do enjoy the Rogue. I initially thought I might go in here and play a Veil Ranger, but then I decided to just go back to my roots from the Dragon Age Origins days, which was a human dual wielding rogue, and I have not been disappointed with the duelist at all. Combat has been really fast paced and also at the same time complex, going through and doing all of the primers and detonators and getting all the synergies that I want with my characters. I've done the beginner's guide to combat already, so if you want more information on that, you can check that out. I've also done a beginner's guide on the skills and specializations. I find that overall the combat does get a little bit repetitive after a while in terms of the base combos and the base things you're doing, but I would say I could make that argument about every single game that I play, whether it's God of War, Jedi Survivor, insert, Destiny 2, Call of Duty, like any game that is that features a lot of combat, you're going to eventually get to the point where the combat feels a little bit repetitive. That being said, it's not unfun. And the thing I do like is that as I've gone along and unlocked different abilities, I have consistently been changing the way that I play slightly. It doesn't really change the combos that I do per se, but it changes like the primers and detonators, if that makes sense. Um, so it's one of those things where once you get into the rotation of what you're doing, you kind of know what you're going to be doing every single time. So pretty much every combat scenario, I'm going in and doing my regular attacks, my light and heavy attacks, and then I'm either doing a combo with Glacial Pace, which is Nev, comboing with Death from Above from Davin, or I'm going in here and doing Toxic Dash on my end, which is Sundered, and the Icebreaker from her. So in both cases, she is either a primer or a detonator, and he over here is a detonator, and I can act as a primer. So it's been pretty fun so far. As I get deeper into things, this changes slightly. Also, some of the missions require you to go in and have specific companion characters, and that helps spice it up a little bit because you have to learn how to work with other characters, and that can be quite fun. I'm playing on the normal difficulty. I think that that has been more than sufficiently difficult for me. I've died on a few of the boss fights, the champions. They have been quite difficult. So on the combat front, I would say some of the things that I would say have kind of stuck out to me is that, long term, the combat can feel a little bit repetitive like it can in any action game. And there's not enough finishing animations, I should say. I have so far only seen one finisher and animation from my character. When I take on I believe it's the Sundered or Staggered. No, Staggered. So when you can stagger a mob and it hunkers down, you can do a special attack. Um, it's one of two things, I should say, not one. It's two things. One is a yeet move where I yeet them off the cliff, and the other one is where he stab, and then does a jump thing and then like stabs him in the head and knocks him down to the ground. There's only two finishing animations that I have seen after 30 hours of combat, and I really wish there was more. I feel that it would add more flavor to the combat, and it would help the combat feel a little less repetitive. Um, that being said, I do find the combat quite enjoyable, and it does feel very satisfying when we get into a fight, especially the champion fights. Going through low level mobs also feels very satisfying as I've gotten higher level. But going over here into the journal as an example, I've got all of these quests to defeat champions. Those are hard. Like, I've had multiple encounters with those where it's like die, 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 third, fourth, fifth time finally getting across and beating the mob. It's felt very satisfactory when that happens. So, you know, combat is good. It's fun, if a little bit repetitive, but again, that's not that big of a deal to me. On a, like, is this an open world game versus a linear game? I've seen a lot of people talk about, oh, it's just a linear game, and I don't think that that's fair to say. It's like a hybrid. So as an example, we are in the Crossroads right now, and um, in the Crossroads, you have all these different islands, and when you first come in here, it does feel linear in the first 15 hours or so of the gameplay, but once you start leveling up and you start getting these champion runes, which unlock these various areas, you start to realize that, oh, this is a really massive, massive map, and there are lots of places to explore in here. In addition, every single area here, whether it's Treviso, the Ravane Coast, Arlethan Forest, Docktown, the wetlands, the Necropolis Halls, each one of these areas you will eventually, you'll go into them doing some sort of linear mission with a character to do a quest. But then after that, they open up and you can go back and you find that you're able to go in and fully explore those locations, but you won't be able to fully explore them until you've unlocked all of the characters because each character has a set of abilities that allows you to open areas of the maps. So you really do need to get the full party under your belt before you can truly open up and explore everything. So that has been very satisfactory to me because I do feel like the pacing feels very good because basically you'll go do, some really fast-paced missions and then you'll end up back at the lighthouse. And the lighthouse as your home base of operations is kind of like a nice place to have downtime, and it's where you're doing all of your conversations with the companions and getting lots of side quests for your companions. And it feels very nice because it's like missions, go back, have some dialogue, and then you can either go do more missions or you can choose to go do open world content in between the main missions. And eventually you'll find yourself getting to the point where you have to go do more main missions to unlock other areas of the map, of the various maps, I should say. So it feels very good, the mix and match of linear versus open world. And at the end of the day, once you really start to get everything unlocked, it does become, I would argue, a very open world game once you get all the zones unlocked and once you have all the characters underneath your belt. Now, the dialogue is another area where I will readily admit, and I've talked about this in another video, the dialogue is an area that is it's not the favorite aspect for some people. I would say that this reminds me of um, someone said in chat today it feels like sometimes like you're watching like a He-Man cartoon from the 80s, which is not a bad thing. It's just understanding what style they're getting across. There's humor here. Um, there are emotionally impactful scenes, and there are, I think, at least with the main storyline and the side quests for the main characters, I feel like the writing is very much top notch. I found several great quotes that I've jotted down in the notebook as we've been streaming. I think the cafe scene with Lucanus was, for me, one of my favorite scenes so far. Any scene with um, Manfred is amazing. Any scene with Asan is amazing. I really enjoyed every moment I've had with Nev. She's a really cool character, kind of like the noir detective. I got very emotional during one of Balara's scenes when she was talking about her past and what happened to her brother, because that resonated with me because of something that happened with my brother. I talked about that in the other, excuse me, in that other dialogue video I did. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. But the side quests, not the companion quests, but like the side quests that you find in the game world, I feel like are your traditional fetch quest side quests. And I think it's fair to say that those are definitely of a lesser quality. That's not to say that they are bad, but when compared against the main questline stuff, you know, it doesn't quite match up. And it's not that big of a deal as long as you understand what they are. They're just kind of fetch quests, but I've found them to be very forgettable. And it's just like, oh, go do this thing over here and kill these mobs and get a reward. And it's like, oh my god, I've done this in every MMO I've ever played or any open world game. Whereas opposed to like when I did God of War and God of War Ragnarok, the most two recent editions, I praised the side quests in those two games because every one of those side quests felt like it was an epic adventure. And the companion quests here do a great job of that, but I kind of wonder why they have so much filler content because I feel like they could have stripped all that filler content out and still had a very solid experience, and it wouldn't have necessarily been drugged down by those kind of fetch quests. That being said, I do love the dialogue in the main quests, and I love the voice acting. The talent behind these characters is top notch. I have enjoyed all of the main quest lines, the storyline. We just did the it was Emmerich's quest today, where we went and did this like Dia de los Muertos type thing where we're celebrating the dead, and it was just really cool. Manfred was there. I've had a lot of fun with that. It's a big game. I'm anticipating that I'll get at least a 50 to 60 hour gameplay. I've seen a lot of people talking about getting an 80-hour gameplay. I'm not trying to do a completionist mode, but I am sort of kind of doing a completionist mode, so I would anticipate a 50 to 60 hour playthrough. So I feel like I'm probably getting to around the halfway point. We'll see. But I've had a lot of fun so far. The gear progression has been very good. I'm still learning a little bit about different aspects of that, how to upgrade all my gear back at the base. I do love how, like, everybody, all your companions, like, customize their spaces in the lighthouse. And when you start off, it's all very basic, but then as you go along, there's more stuff to see. And then the game visually is just breathtaking. I'm on fidelity mode right now on the Xbox Series X. At no point in time have I ever felt like this was a 30 frame per second game. It's felt absolutely just amazingly smooth. The performance is absolutely stellar. And performance mode is what I play on when I'm doing the longer streams, just because it helps me with my eye strain, and I feel like it's been a really good experience so far. Puzzles, I don't think I have anything really to say other than like every game that has come before it. Once you've done 10 or 15 different puzzles, it's kind of like, oh, I've done these types of puzzles before in all these other games. There's nothing groundbreaking there. I don't think it's bad, it's just not groundbreaking. So, all told, I am quite enjoying my time here. This is definitely the best BioWare game that I've played in a long time. I enjoyed Anthem. I enjoyed Mass Effect Andromeda. I am a BioWare fan. This is definitely better than those two games. Um, I definitely feel like I didn't really. Yeah, like I like the Dragon Age franchise, but I'm definitely more of a Mass Effect fanboy. So for me, this gives me great hope for what's coming down the pipeline with the next Mass Effect game, because I am genuinely having a lot of fun with this game. And to be honest with you, I think this is the best for me personally. I am enjoying this Dragon Age game more than any other Dragon Age game that I've played since Origins. And Origins came at a time in my life when I was, that's 20 years ago, and I remember playing the crap out of that game over like 6 months and just absolutely loving every moment of it, being a Grey Warden and all the new lore and everything else. Um, but this, for me, hits home. I like the modernity of it. I love all the characters. I have yet to see a single aspect of any sort of. I know I've seen like people railing about, oh, this these woke characters. I haven't seen any of that yet. I'm 30 hours in and not once. And I know there is a scene with Tash that is coming up that has triggered a lot of people, because they talk about pronouns, and I think that that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. These are the times we live in, and if you look at the people who developed this game, they have a lot of really, I would say, diverse people on the staff, and BioWare is a very diverse company, and it's great that those people are allowed to express themselves in an art form like this. So personally for me, I don't have a problem with that. And as we've talked about on my channel many times, we celebrate diversity, we don't discriminate, and we embrace all gamers regardless of race, color, creed, lifestyle choices, and beyond. And so I'm really happy to see that they've been able to put pieces of themselves into the game. And I don't see at any point in time, again, I'm 30 hours in, I've never seen anything that's been forced or anything. It's just been a damn good RPG. Definitely more on the action side of like action RPG, but that's fine. I'm having a good time. I think at the moment, if I had to give it a rating, um, I would probably say it's a solid like 8 out of 10 for me right now. I'm really having a good time. There's been a couple of tiny little. The performance has been absolutely stellar across the board. Um, the there was today, we had a couple of times when the audio didn't cue with a door, and then we had one weird where like a bird was cawing in the background, then all of a sudden it turned into this like distortion. It sounded like, somebody on stage like with their guitar distorting for like 5 seconds, and then it went away. And then I've seen a couple of times where we've clipped through the environment when we've jumped up some stairs. But other than that, the performance has been absolutely stellar. I've loved all the characters. They all have great, unique um, personalities, And again, the voice talent has brought them to life, and I've just genuinely had a really, really, really good time. So, from my perspective, I know when I did my early thoughts video, I said that I didn't have anything negative to say. I still don't really have anything negative to say, but hopefully you can see that I am willing to critique the things when there are things that I don't think are necessarily as good as they could be, which we mentioned in this video. Things like the combat being a little repetitive. I wish there was more, finisher animations for the rogue. Um, uh, I think that the fetch quests can be a little. Those ones aren't so great, but the rest of it's really good. I'm having a great time. I am absolutely enjoying this game, and like I said, for me, it's the best bioware game I've played in a long time, and I'm really looking forward to what's coming in the pipeline with the next Mass Effect game. So, looking forward to seeing you guys in the next stream. Stay safe out there. Hope you're having fun. And until next time, everybody, don't forget daily streams on YouTube and Twitch at 9 a.m. Central. We'll see you in the next one.